Welcome to Fin Business. I am Manoj Agrawal. We have with us Mr. Rajendra Malsekar. He is the President and Head of Corporate Digital and Technology Solutions at Yes Bank. So welcome Rajendra.
Yeah,
How
thank
are
you. Good.
So Rajendra, you are in a vertical which is different from what we mostly see when we talk of digital, which is the retail. So what all does your vertical cover in terms of business aspects? And then we shall get into technology and digital.
When we talk about banking, so corporate and retail actually go hand in hand in the sense that, like for example, you take an example of a big corporate like let us say Reliance. So all the employees working in Reliance are retail customers. So if we actually collaborate with Reliance, for example, and we say let us put some ATMs in Reliance campus itself, and if they're customers, so it becomes a corporate retail combination. So that's how it is. So what are solutions you do for corporate? The extension is the retail solutions also. Like for example, what we have done very interesting is corporate employee can actually go to the local ATM and withdraw money even without a card, using a specific technology. So it's what we call instant money transfer. Similarly, we have got solutions for salary disbursements. So this is from the corporate to the retail customer. So basically, Reliance is giving salaries to that. So that solution is also us. We have API-based solutions which give salary to the customers, payments to the vendors, and dividends to the shareholders. So that is how the corporate solutions work. Recently, what we have also done, we have introduced robotics to do salary payments to the employees of a corporate.
What are the current applications or innovations that you are working on or that you are seeking fintechs for?
A couple of things. I mean, one major area we are looking from a fintech purpose perspective is the cyber security. So we are looking at multiple factors which are convenient, usable, and at the same time they are also secure enough.
Yes.
And we are, in fact, we are looking at military level security for the customers who bank with us. The second big platform we are working on is blockchain.
Okay.
Blockchain works two ways, and in blockchain, first of all, it gives you a platform. This is a very secure platform, very transparent platform, and it also ensures a trust between the two parties that your transactions are safe and non-tamperable. So immutability is a very, very big aspect of blockchain. Though today it is in a very nascent stage, I mean in the next coming few years, I think it will become a rage. In fact, it's already trending, all over the globe. I don't see any continent where people don't talk about blockchain. We have also done a lot of work on blockchain, and we want to be the leader or pioneer in that way.
One day B will stand for B for blockchain. But anyway, going ahead, when you talked of military level security, is that something that the bank has taken up because of all the ransomware threats and all advanced persistent threats that we are seeing? Are those the drivers for military level security?
What security is something else, but I'm restricting myself to the transaction when a customer does a transaction with the bank. So we are building in enough security so that he is indeed doing the transaction.
Actually, security, the bigger challenge as I understand, is making things secure is easy. Making things remaining convenient is a challenge. So is that the challenge for you when you bring in military level security?
Yeah, and that is actually the USP of our solution. So we use the latest PKI, that is the key based infrastructure. But at the same time, we make it very convenient to the user because it is an app-based solution.
Okay.
So user just needs to download our app, and he would be able to do any transaction, and he'll be aware of each and every transaction he is doing. I mean, in fact, he can actually stop a transaction if he doesn't want to do that.
In the middle of the transaction.
Because it is a tripartite handshake. The one is a bank, the user with the mobile, and there is a third party, which is the fintech I was referring to, who has done that platform. And the solution revolves around these three things, and he can be very sure, we can be very sure indeed these three parties are doing the transaction. Indeed, that is the amount we are talking about, because it is a key based solution. So no one can actually mimic the keys. That is the USP of the thing, and it is convenient because he has to simply press using his thumb either a yes or no. I mean any of the fingers basically. He can say yes or no. So
So
simple.
it takes biometric okay to
We can
proceed.
attach biometric to it also, but biometric is not mandatory. So we can have biometrics added to it. Like we are also thinking of Aadhaar adding to it. We could add passport also to it to make it more stronger. My user ID password of the bank is already there. You could add your own identities like Aadhaar cards. That is your own identity. Then you have passport, again government issued identity. So you can actually, that combination will be very strong. That is what I meant by military level security, because this is exactly being done at the government level also.
These days we are seeing that the technology systems of banks have become strong and secure, and so the weaknesses actually become the user himself. So using social engineering or whatever, people are gaining access to the passwords or duping users to reveal their pins and passwords. That I presume is still going to remain a weakness, whether we have blockchain or whether we have something else.
And securities can be at various levels. You know, one what you are referring to, I'll come back to that in a bit. While endpoint security you are talking about.
Yes.
There are server level security also, where the bank has the full control, and there are a lot of things. We are talking about firewalls here. We are talking about antivirus.
So my understanding is all those are in place, and
All those are in place. We are talking about sensors, tools to keep on continuously monitoring which IP addresses are attacking you. Similarly, when last time ransom attack was there, we as a bank, and I'm pretty sure most of the banks in India were ready to do what is the next step. So what next step? Because for that you need the infrastructure to be ready to react.
yes.
And we reacted very fast. We didn't allow any of that to hit our servers. And our infrastructure, like Seasite, actually is a structure, regulatory structure, to report all these cases, and they actually do continuous monitoring. And they immediately informed all the vendors, including Microsoft, IBM, Oracle. Patches were ready. They are immediately implemented. You know, because see, normally it's like the earthquake. Before the earthquake, there is some rumbling. So before the ransom, there was rumbling available, because particular traffic was going very high. And then the cyber guys actually knew there's something going to happen. What is going to happen was not aware, but something is going to happen. So people were actually ready for that attack.
The second point that was coming to mind was
Yeah, I'm
that
coming to the endpoint security. I mean, that's
okay,
what
okay, yes.
So that will obviously remain weaknesses, because for example, I know some of the customers, both corporate and retail, who share passwords with each other. That you can't help it. If you are sharing passwords, like if he is your login and if he knows your password, he'll be able to log in and do whatever he wants, right?
That's more of customer literacy.
So bank is doing whatever possible so that the transaction end to end becomes very secure.
Okay.
Because one is the money, the second is the data, which is more important.
So do you also monitor if the endpoint device of the customer, whether a phone or a laptop or a tab or something, is actually secure? Is it, for example, I understand Blackberries are much more secure than an Android. So if that is the case, will you treat a Blackberry user with a little lesser, more convenience, those kind of things? Or do you assume that all devices are unsecure?
We use a common policy because when the transaction comes in, you are not aware whether it is coming from an Android phone or a thing. You know it is coming from an endpoint, maybe a specific IP or a specific MAC ID. So you won't know whether it is an Android unless you have a database of all the mobiles in the world, which is not feasible. But having said that, we treat them equally, and we ensure that that transaction is coming from a actual authentic customer, at least as far as so like for example, we do signature of the device. So there are technologies available which can do signature of the device. So one of the fintech we are working with, the way you hold the phone is also a signature. So when you type, you use this way or that way, you know. Particularly the smartphones with the motion sensor. So there are technologies which can do that also. So those are some of the things which will help to this. Then at the server end, we have several, like for example, is it coming from a jailbreak device, for example, which is basically not an official device, but you know, you're trying to puncture it and trying to do a transaction. Yes. So there are technologies available at the back end, I'm saying. So if a transaction comes from that, it will raise an alarm.
We talked a lot about technology and about Yes Bank. But if you look at the banking sector as a whole and the fintech sector as a whole, do you see any specific trends?
The banks have the financial muscle, they're strong enough, but they may not have the nimbleness, agility, or the idea, innovation oriented culture possibly, or even if that is there, they may not be able to immediately implement something.
Correct, correct.
But if you look at the fintech companies, they're agile, nimble, and most of them are bubbling with ideas, and they want to do something which is going to shine them, and something which is going to be innovative, something which is going to be useful. So all those, so it's a very good combination.
It is, it is.
So if they go on their own way, it will be probably difficult for them to be successful in a short range. And when they come together, so the bank could actually provide a lab related environment. They could also make him the first footstep for the project, the way we are doing. So allow that guy to do his first project in the bank, productionize it, and maybe then he can expand to the outside world. So it is like incubation oriented thing. So that basically, so you become a first step incubation, then when we collaborate with the bank accelerators, and then you go to the bigger world.
How many fintechs has Yes Bank engaged with so far?
So we have initiated this. This is just a 1-year-old program, and we are just started in the second year. So this is the official program I am talking about. So we are talking about roughly 10 odd fintech companies.
Okay.
But even prior to this program, we have been working with fintech companies for long, almost last 7-8 years. We are also looking at bringing the global fintechs together so that they bring value to the Indian fintechs as well.
That was Rajendra Malshekar with us from Yes Bank. So I wish you, your team and your bank all the best.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.